Hello and welcome to the Utropeia podcast. I am your host, Ken, creator of the Ken 15 Club. And if you haven't listened... I had to let that one sink in.
Yeah.
A little bit. Not just let it hang, just right there. If you remember, hey, everyone, if you're still in 5th grade, have a good time. Just remember everything. Don't let everything get to you. It's a good time. It's all for fun. It's all for games.
Do you own Ken Island?
Yes, yeah.
Right, just
KenIsland.com. Quality Kens for everyone involved. Hello, you're listening to the Utropeia podcast, a podcast where we talk about tropes. This week we are talking about labyrinths, and my co-hosts, who I have not introduced yet, are, I'll start off with Saker Dimmsdale.
Yo, what up?
The fantastic, the fabulous Todd Ogredose.
Hello, I am the Todd.
Anna Cranberry.
Hey, everybody.
And from his moon castle on the moon, Chris Moonjump.
Moonjump.
9?
9! Bill, Mr. U Video, is not here. We are stuck in this labyrinth, and he is fixing the horrible mess that we got into on the outside of it. So that is what is going on. Hello.
We're the Minotaur.
We are the Minotaur. We are the Minotaurs. We are the Minotars, and we are minnows also.
3-hour tour.
3-hour tour. But what won't take 3 hours is the explanation of what we are excited / bummed out about for this week.
That could have been a stronger segue.
It could have been a stronger segue. If only the owner of the Segway had built a stronger Segway.
Just gonna get that out of the way right now.
The Super Segway?
The Super Segway.
Super Segway.
You can't fall off it, and it can't fall off anything else.
Hey, I think we're just chocolate milking it all.
If only Uncle Ben had been on a Segway.
With great power comes delicious chocolate milk. If you don't understand any of these references, they're in earlier episodes. And
go listen to episode 1 of the Utropeia podcast.
Is it on episode 1? Maybe
I
it is.
believe chocolate milk is first referenced to this.
Wow. This is an ongoing one.
Strong.
We have been going strong. Well, you need strong bones.
Well, I'm excited about that.
Well,
got milk?
Anna, since you're offering it up, what else are you excited for this week, Anna?
Excited for The Purge.
The Purge.
The Purge.
Yes.
Just coming out. I was excited to watch Snowpiercer, which was awesome. Go watch it.
Snowpiercer's a damn good movie, actually.
Damn good. It's damn good.
I would send a person to hell because it is that good. And that's just the intro.
How can they watch it? They can't. They're in hell.
It's worth it.
It's worth it. I don't understand the time scale here.
I do.
Okay.
Okay. That's all that really matters.
That's all that really matters, but nothing really matters. Everyone can see. Nothing really
Speaking
matters.
of mattresses in hell.
Yeah, well, what's a good thing to sleep on is...
What?
Is your decision...
They aren't making sense here.
They're not. This is a non-profit one? This is a non-profit podcast?
This is
not making dollars and
There's no
cents?
sense.
I believe
Oh,
we're
boy.
just in a maze of Ken's mind at this point.
This is not a pun, but I'm just saying it's not too late to start this whole episode over again. We can do it right this time.
To the Utropeia podcast.
No, he's just got his mind on his money and his money on his mind.
Oh, oh no, dang, wow. I think we were all waiting for it.
I take it all back. I'm sorry.
Uh-oh, back to the lab again.
No.
Back to the lab again.
No.
We messed up.
Back to the
Someone
labyrinth.
else talk about what they're excited about. Stop this
I'm
right
trying to tell you, but you keep interrupting me.
No.
But what's a fresh breath on the Marvel scene is that there's a new mantle for Captain America, which is Sam Wilson, the Falcon. It was announced yesterday on the Colbert Report. I'm pretty excited for it. Hey, Todd, what are you excited / bummed out about?
Okay.
I'm not editing this. This is good.
It's so weirdly formal.
The first thing I do want to point out that was introduced to me mere moments ago
A pretzel bun?
no. No. Although they are delicious.
I would argue. Maybe.
In Siberia, there was some kind of bizarre thing that created the world's largest earth hole.
I saw that.
Can I please note? I want you to continue, Todd, but Ken's hand is hovering over the bell right now.
That's the way it should always be.
I looked at it and said, "Holy cow!"
Ever so gentle. Ever so soft.
The thing I was super excited about is that we filmed our 48-hour film project. And it was amazing.
That's so cool you guys did. I can't wait to see it.
Oh, we had such an amazing team this year. Everyone except Saker.
Yeah, I really suck.
No, but we had a fantastic team, and we created a really nice movie, like a really good movie.
Well,
it's not nice, but it's a little depressing, but it's a good film. Yeah, it was a blast. We all got together and over the course of the 48 hours made something really good. And as soon as I can, I will let everyone see. But from here, this upcoming Tuesday will be the premiere of it on the big screen.
Yay!
And from there, they'll after that they'll release if anyone got any nominations or anything like that. So if we do get nominated for anything from there, we'll go on to a best of and see where we go from there. But very excited about this film. It was a very good collective film that I think came out spectacular. So
I have one question.
I'm afraid to ask.
Did Bri die?
Unfortunately not. We
couldn't squeeze it in.
really
Birdie.
tried to get. Yeah, if anyone remembers Brian, of course he was Brian
Hambone
Hannah on the Dystropia podcast. But Virtue, which we've talked about, was our last year's film. Brian, of course, dies in that. Although I shouldn't have said that. It hasn't been 2 years. So, spoilers.
We're ruining our own canon.
But yeah, that's the major stuff. Smash Brothers, though, real quick. Captain Falcon is back.
Yes.
I guess there was some new characters introduced, but Captain Falcon is back.
Well, I really like with that one where they talk about the about Robin, who's the tactician.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because he's got expendable moves.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I think just all the characters they're adding are so cool.
I was surprised to see two Fire Emblem people.
Japan
there's
loves
already
Fire Emblem.
You mean 3 Fire Emblem people?
Crom.
Oh, I think Crom is part of Robin's Final Smash.
I don't think he's a playable.
Yeah, he's not playable.
Oh no, Cowboy Bebop.
Where am I? But Saker, what are you excited about / bummed out about this week?
I am excited to find out where you are.
Yeah.
What?
He didn't know where he was. I'm gonna go try an adventure.
We're lost in a
Okay.
labyrinth.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah. We're all in
yes,
separate
thank you.
rooms, but we can talk to each other through these magic stones.
It's amazing.
Isn't this awesome?
I'm excited for, let's see. So, over the last week, I played and beat the entirety of The Wolf Among Us, which I bought from the Steam sale.
Wolf Among Us.
I haven't seen the last episode yet, but the
Me either.
game has been
It's the only
great.
one I have left.
It was really good, and I'm on a Telltale binge right now, and I'm excited because episode 4 of Walking Dead is coming out next
Play
week.
some Strong Bad's game for attractive people.
I played the first, I think, 2 of those when they were on the Wii. That's how old that damn game is.
I did about the same.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's pretty cool. I literally just got back from Grand Budapest Hotel too, which was also awesome. I love Wes Anderson.
Yay.
So
yeah, that's a fun movie.
Yep. I don't know. That's about it. I'm sure there's other stuff, but I can't think of it right now.
Did you ever play the Back to the Future ones?
I have them, but I have not. I've not played
a playthrough of that.
They're really good.
It's 7.5 hours long.
7.5.
It's really good story.
It was
though.
a great 7.5 hour long movie I watched.
It's like the entire run of Back to the Future.
Oh my god, it's true.
That's why I said
They
it.
had Doc.
And Einstein, bark.
Fat Einstein.
Fat Einstein. Everyone's fat.
What was it? Fat to the Future?
Yeah. Fat to the Future. Marty, we're gonna go back and I've tied these 2 hover rounds together.
Hover round. It works even better because the hoverboard rounds.
They don't work on water unless... Hand me that cheeseburger.
Oh my god. It's ruined.
But what isn't going to be burgled from this podcast is Chris's opinion about what's exciting / bumming this week.
Well, one of the things I was really excited for this week was they announced that they're actually going to do Lego Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Awesome.
So
Ding.
they
No!
So actually the sets and things for them are very, very cool and very interesting. They've added a lot of different set pieces for them rather than being like climactic scenes and stuff from the movie. They actually included like a lot of like Nova Corps and things like that for it.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to see them not focus on the big set pieces and kind of go more for something that kids could actually play with, but then play separately with too, because that's been one of the problems with the recent movie title sets.
Mm-hmm.
They really only work for them.
Jeez, Lego.
Oh, whoa.
The other thing, which
What?
is both
Get
exciting
it together.
Oh.
Oh.
I'll just leave now.
What, this isn't interactive? No, I meant interlocking. You know what? I'm just going to take a redo on that joke. Hello!
I guess I just blocked it out. I'm sorry.
Oh, good.
Yes! Yes!
Ugh.
I'm just clawing at the bit on that one.
The other
Like
thing
the
I was
hands.
excited about is Sunrise actually has mentioned that they are now taking design submissions for the piloting format that their 40th anniversary Gundam mech that they're going to be making.
Yes!
So they're asking people all across the internet for basically submit how you think a giant mech would be piloted, because they're actually working with engineers to build a 60-foot tall mech that actually walks.
That'll be a good
Rube
idea.
Goldberg machine. Always Pee Wee Herman's breakfast machine. Always. The inside of every mech.
Smiley face, fried eggs with the bacon sauce.
La la la, shining finger. All of my rage.
Is it just a mech Pee Wee Herman that you pilot?
Yeah, it's just a big
It's just a giant
it's just a
Pee Wee.
big sword
The
bow tie.
has like big blades coming out of it.
He unhooks the bow tie and it's the sword.
It's like a throwing star.
I know you are, but what am I?
This is what we've come to. Just imitating Pee Wee Herman for like an hour of podcast.
Oh, Tequila Gundam, my
Oh,
favorite.
God damn it.
Oh.
I was also thinking what the mech.
That's pretty good.
Ooh.
You know what? I'm really happy about that. You're the Jägermeister here. You'll get it if you've seen Pacific Jim. He's just a guy named Jim in the Pacific. He knows a lot about mechs. So, about labyrinths,
Flawless.
Similar to
Flawless.
piloting a mech.
Similar to piloting a mech and getting lost in a maze. No. Okay, so labyrinths are used in a lot of media. Look, no, we got to bring it down. I've been real goofy.
You're like, okay, stop with the
Guys,
This
you
is a
need to calm
serious
down.
This is getting
You've
ridiculous.
You've all been way out of
crap.
control.
This is a serious.
You know what? I'm here to edutain
We are
people.
talking through this
and there has been
magic
far
crystal.
this
I'm tired of
maze,
it.
and I can't see a single one of you.
Amazing. Gotta get it.
Yeah,
I'll
it was
allow
going
it.
to happen at some point.
No, of course it was. Of course it was. Okay.
I guess this conversation reached a dead end. You're making the most pissed off face as
No.
you ring that bell.
No, I'm just empty. There's only puns left.
Amazing
Nothing
bells.
else. Pills and amazing.
Okay.
Whew. So, what do you think of Forsaker?
Oh.
when it comes to
I've just been
Labyrinth?
constantly shaking my head for the past 3 minutes in sadness.
Seizure the day.
Seizure the day.
Because he's shaking constantly.
Wow. Carpe diem.
Dium.
Carpe
Okay.
diem.
Carpe diem, girl.
We're all terrible.
So, my first thought when you said that labyrinths was the topic for this week
Yes.
was I went to what is the difference between a maze and a labyrinth? Are they the same thing? Just to confirm.
One can also be a color or a type of corn, but yeah, they're the same thing.
Okay, so then I guess the first thing that came to my mind was sort of the Halloween corn maze type of idea.
If you live
which
in
is,
the Midwest, yes.
Oh, yeah.
technically.
Basically, yeah. Which
Basically.
kind of the hokey but scary, I guess. And of course, the Crete Labyrinth Daedalus Minotaur one as well,
Yeah.
which I'm sure came to everybody's mind first too.
Greek mythology.
Yeah.
Knossos.
Which is a weird distinction because one is very storied and the other is super lame and hokey and so I think with mazes and labyrinths you can sort of you go across the whole board.
Cannot believe you didn't say corny.
I can't believe that
I'm really
somebody
sorry.
didn't mention that he was talking about a maze.
Oh man. Oh, I've never made that connection before. That's why they call them mazes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because
'Cause
when the
it's-
ancient Indians created
Yeah.
them.
That's- you can go into the maze at Pocahontas's off of
Oh.
24th and
They have
Haggerty.
great coffee.
It's good. Get
Oh,
them-
I thought that was a pun, but it's a
Yeah.
real place.
no,
Okay.
no, it's not a real place. It's a joke that I just made right now.
It was so specific, Haggerty. I was like, oh, okay, Pocahontas is
Yeah,
all.
okay.
That's fine.
I'll stop by there next time.
Sure,
Yeah.
I'll pay in wampum.
What?
Really trying to
It's
be
a
offensive
courtesy.
on this episode.
I'm not trying to be. I'm just terrible. I'm sorry.
Just naturally offensive.
I guess 1/16 of me is okay with it, but the rest not so much. Hey, Chris, what do you think of when it comes to labyrinths and/or mazes?
Well, one that I would actually go for that is actually would be Pan's Labyrinth because that was actually it was a surprisingly well done movie, although not actually a labyrinth. Just throwing that one out there.
Maybe. How long has it been since
It's-
that movie came out?
It's been more than 2
long
like
time.
yeah.
It's been longer than.
It's been longer than that, yeah.
It's been longer than that. So
It's been a while.
it's been a while. It's it's kind of a mental labyrinth, I guess. If
Yeah.
you wanted to get into that, maybe.
Yeah, but in terms of actual like physical moving,
Yeah.
yeah. But no, it was one of those. I think in many ways that was kind of the most recent popular example I could think of.
Mm-hmm.
Besides, isn't there some labyrinth movie coming
Yes.
out
What
here
is
soon?
it called?
It reminds me of
Is it just called The Maze?
yeah.
I'm not feeding into
No, there's
this.
the Maze Runner that's coming out.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Maze
new one.
Runner.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be. I'm actually interested to see that movie.
Me too.
To be honest.
It's about breaking the world record for doing labyrinth puzzles.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like a speedrunner for mazes.
Oh, cool.
Well,
Well,
So Anna, what do you think of first when it comes to mazes and
do you have
labyrinths?
to ask?
Yeah, no, I do.
David Bowie.
What?
David Bowie
Yeah.
and that movie.
Let's Dance.
Yes.
Okay.
Did you know he was in Venture Bros?
He was in Venture Bros.
Yes.
That's awesome.
No,
Reminds me of
the David Bowie Labyrinth.
Yeah, the David
That's one
Bowie
everyone
Labyrinth
knows.
with
It
Ludo.
is titled The Labyrinth.
I wanted to
The
see how
movie
long we
is
could
a
keep
labyrinth.
it.
I have to mention it. I'm sorry.
I know someone had
Get it
to.
out of the way. We
20
can talk
minutes
about
in,
it.
there you are.
I'm impressed. I am
we
directly
made it
impressed.
that far.
Yeah.
But
Here
we did get lost along the way.
Oh.
Never go that way.
What? Never go that way.
That dick.
He would have gone straight to that castle.
What a jerk.
My friends told me that was me in that movie.
Accurate.
Accurate.
Thanks,
Yeah, that's the one I
guys.
think of. Otherwise, I mean, the maze is just really well known as a concept. It was
Directly.
a screensaver for old Windows.
Oh, Anna, that was on my Who Does It Good list.
I won't talk about it more then. We'll forego it for now.
We'll go into it much more later.
In more detail later.
After.
That along with the 3D pipes.
After Todd
was the-
Ogredose. Well, yeah.
The triangle line shapes, they were like neon colors. They would
What are
twirl
you-
around. It was another
What are
screensaver.
you talking about?
I'm talking
Really?
about the future of the past.
What are you?
X-Men 3.
What?
4. Was it 4?
What? I'm dazed and confused. Your
It's just
pass.
honestly terrifying you.
No, I'm fine. I'm doing okay. I'm coming down.
Okay, coming down,
I'm
coming down from it.
This maze
Alright.
is really scary, you
Okay,
guys.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, no.
Next.
Todd.
Oh. Sorry, I was stuck against a wall. Oh.
I think.
I don't know.
I think.
I think.
Bizarre example. I went to kind of the mythology of Labyrinth, except I went to there's an episode of Batman the animated series. I think it's the
Riddler's Riddle.
Yep, it's
Man.
an episode called "If You're So Smart, Why Aren't You Rich?"
Yes.
And I believe it is the introductory episode of the Riddler. And
It's the Quizzler's origin story.
and he in it he creates a video game that's based off of Labyrinth, and you have to solve like trivia and stuff to get through it, and eventually they make like a real life amusement park based off of it, and there's like a floating robot hand that like flies around. It's the Hand of Fate. And if you answer something,
Manos.
if you answer something incorrectly, it scoops you up and like sends you back to the beginning or something. And then there's like they have to rescue like an executive guy from being chopped in half by the Minotaur, and they have to answer the Minotaur's riddle. It's a neat episode, and I don't know why exactly that was the first thing I went to, but there it is.
It's Batman, and it's like directly
because
referencing the
Batman
myth.
has to be mentioned also once.
At least
Utopia.
once. Batman
Just like
and
a second.
just a
Just
beautiful
like-
sun.
It's just a beautiful, beautiful sun.
Just my beautiful, beautiful son, who I would never want anything bad to happen to, ever.
Can I
in this whole
mention,
world.
I like how everything I hate has become an ongoing joke. That's like the source of all this shit.
A remarkably large number of our jokes actually are just to make you
Yeah.
laugh.
Well,
Get it?
and we don't want to chicken out on making them.
But to Mariah carry this to the next topic. It's canon. Nick canon. I actually thought of Rawest Forest first from Super Mario RPG. It is a game, and it's for me. And I play the game, and I get really lost. Then I go to a game guide, and I find out what to do.
Saker just did a mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, honey. That sounds great.
You're such a
So
good
mommy
boy.
can smoke.
No, I love that. Is the best piece of music in that game is "Beware the Forest Mushrooms." So that scene is iconic for me of Mario RPG.
Na, 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 na. Who does it well or does it differently? Hey, Anna, what do you think about that? Who does it well? Is it Yazar or a fat? Dead politician, maybe from the Middle East. Na 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 na. Yazar or a fat? Yazar or a fat? Google him. La 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 la.
Oh, I thought you were just being Manchurian candidated or something. I was really confused. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Huh.
Ooh, Nelly.
I don't know what I'm on tonight, you guys. I'm sorry.
Very goofy tonight.
It's, by the way,
Go.
before we get into that, the difference between a labyrinth and a maze is that a maze exclusively only involves choices of path.
A labyrinth involves
Death
well,
traps, crazy
Oh,
shit.
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Interesting.
Mr. Webster.
no problem.
As far as Dev. I think
This maze is really scary. It's okay.
this
We'll
maze
find
is
each other.
really scary, you guys.
Okay.
But
But who does it well?
I thought it was who does it differently.
No, it's who does. We do that at the end. It's like
That's
you've
what
never
you
been on
said
this
to me.
podcast.
It's like you're
Listen
lost
to
in
this
this
when you edit it.
podcast.
This
It's like
I like the idea that you change it every time just to confuse
Yeah.
her.
we get bummed out every week.
Come
if
on.
I was tired, that would honestly be trippy and confusing. Anyone that has like any sort of kind of element to it that adds a challenge, I think everyone recognizes a labyrinth as like a challenge to get to the end or solve your way through it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, most of them do. It's a lot of games will have like, just a plain maze. Like older ones would do it because it's like, hey,
Hey.
it's a maze. Everyone knows what that is.
Yeah.
We already talked with like backs of cereal boxes and stuff. But to have it actually be part of a story is usually when it's actually exciting. So the original with the Minotaur, that's it. It was the threat in there, trying to find your way through, trying to be safe. There's usually a lot of danger involved.
With someone's
That's when it's
son.
exciting.
Their beautiful son.
But my beautiful son at the end.
Yes, the Minotaur.
Personally, I like it when the person that goes through the labyrinth has a deep change of character by the end of it. So that is like their journey as they get through it. That's what I like the most.
Okay. What movie, or is there a specific example that you think of that could exemplify that?
Well, a lot
that
of them do
description?
it because you identify with the main character going through. So, like the labyrinth, following Sarah, her changing her opinion on her brother and herself. That was a big emotional journey. Harry Potter, they did it as well, where he has like this big dire circumstance going through it, and like
The Goblet of Fire? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, when he's there with what's his name?
Cedric Diggory?
Is it Cedric?
Yeah.
It
It's
is.
Edward.
Edward.
Yeah.
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 Huff and Puff House, 420 Blaze.
Huff and Puff House. 420 Blaze House.
Yeah, it's Huff and Puff House.
Oh my god.
No scope.
No scope.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's cool.
Those examples.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go next. I'll do what I want. I've been on a weird path, but I think of Cube. Actually, the Canadian film, because they start off in a room. It's a bunch of people. It's just like that movie's been out for more than 2 years. It's part of a trilogy of Cube, Hypercube, and Cube Zero, and it's pretty much just this giant moving formation of cubes with different traps in each room, and there's a puzzle and a number system, and
in 2 of the movies, it's a giant formation of the cube. Is one of my favorite movies.
I really
love
like
that
it.
movie so much.
It's so cool to me because it changes as you go through it. And there's a I'm just gonna mostly talk about the main one because that's the one that I've probably seen the most. But it just has like a permutation for how it does move. It has characters. It has like just changes and in character. It's got a kind of a twist where it's like the sane guy turns out to be the one who goes batshit crazy, and the person who you think would be a detriment or a problem to the whole solving of how this cube room is moving around is actually the person who helps solve all of it in a way. Or helps them eliminate possibilities to it. At least it was a really cool take on it. I recommend that you guys see it. It kind of exemplifies what Anna's talking about. A lot of characters kind of change. They make sacrifices for the better. It's a real psychological piece, which I think is what draws me to it the most. And just the fact that it's a maze that changes as you're in it, so it adds an extra component to not only figuring out where you are, but trying to anticipate like what the maze is doing at the same time. And it's 3-dimensional. It's not it's not just like a bunch of walls. It's like you have to climb up through any of the 6 openings inside of a cube room to find out where the original cube is supposed to let you out of the cube. So no, that was my example. And
if can I contribute real quick on Cube 2? Cool. Cube 2 is it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I've seen it a gajillion times, and what's cool about that is it kind of flips the idea of a maze on its head. If we can spoil things, right, if they're over 2 years old. So in Cube 2, they all think it's a maze because all of them have some knowledge of the ideas that were in Cube 1 for various reasons. But the idea of Cube 2 is that it kind of flips the idea of labyrinths and mazes on their head because it's just the same room in different times.
What?
So yeah, it's just one. It's a maze made of one room, and which I think is really an interesting idea. A maze through time instead of a maze through space, which is one of the things that I was going to bring up. Does it really well, even though Cube 2 is one of those so bad it's good movies.
With a name like
and the
Hypercube,
ending,
I would not believe.
Oh my god! Oh, so Hypercube Tesseracts, but Cube 2 is worth watching, especially if you liked 1 because it flips the ideas from 1 on its head.
You know what? I take it back. I've never seen Cube 0. What is it about? Just since we're on the Cube trilogy.
Yeah. So let me just explain the entire Cube trilogy. Cube 0. Basically, it follows the architects behind or not the architects, but the engineers who run the cube as people are going through it. And it's sort of, to spoil the ending of that one, the big twist at the end is that it explains away Kazan from Cube 1. We can cut all this if it's not interesting. Kazan was the kind of the basket case from 1, but it's revealed that engineers who act out of line are kind of lobotomized and tossed in the cube. So that's how Kazan knew so much about what was going on in the cube. Yeah, so... Anyway, Cube trivia. I friggin' love the Cube movies so much.
I haven't seen the second. We should watch it.
Yeah.
We should have a movie night sometime.
Okay. You know what? We'll do a riff tracks of the Cube maybe for Utropia.
That'd be awesome.
I'm still surprised we didn't go through with the idea of just having this be a live stream of us, of us watching Labyrinth.
I want that to happen, but at the same time, I'm not sure.
Do you not think people can take 2 hours of us making David Bowie voices?
No. That's more of a Christopher Walken, I'm sorry.
No.
You remind me,
Chris,
of the babe.
You remind me of who does it well? Who does it well? Chris.
Well, well, I actually go for a relatively, I wouldn't say obscure reference. He's actually a pretty big name in writing, but he's an Italian author named Umberto Eco, and he actually had a story called "In the Name of the Rose," or "The Name of the Rose," and basically what it is, you follow a group of monks into an abbey where someone basically commits suicide, and then some of them start to wind up dead. And the big scene with it, and it's one of the things I absolutely love as a visual, is they basically go through a labyrinth of the Abbey's library. and while they go through it, basically they're gathering clues and things while having general discussions on books. Umberto Eco has these things where he likes to have a lot of he doesn't cut out the traveling parts in his books because he likes people to talk during them. It's not really exposition, he just has banter, and it usually winds up being very interesting, but there's always little hints of it that kind of lead you towards the end of the book as well. He drops things for you to be able to kind of chew on. But the whole thing with the Abbey is actually that the library, in many ways, besides being a repository of knowledge, is also, in many ways, its secondary use in Christian mythology, is because Christianity actually has a very interesting tradition with labyrinths.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, basically, traveling to the end of a labyrinth is considered a spiritual journey. In that it's kind of a way to find God through all of the other choices and dangers and things. And so the Abbey, besides being the repository of knowledge, ultimately leads your main characters towards salvation from what's going on in it. But it wound up being, I thought it was done really well because you get kind of both the perilousness of it, because some of the people in the Abbey do die in the library because it's, it's a breeding ground for a murderer. But one of the things I love with it is the fact that most of the travel is both the mental journey paired with the physical journey of it. But yeah, it's kind of cool to see like old tradition and things brought in with it at the same time, because effectively about midway through the book, you kind of get the minotaur of that labyrinth, which is that the Inquisition is coming to basically exterminate that place.
Wow.
Yeah, it gets kind of hardcore for a little bit. It's if you've never read any of his works, I totally recommend Umberto Eco. He's really good. Finding translations of his work is difficult at times, though.
And then no one.
Apparently there was a movie, The Name of the Rose, starring Sean Connery, based on the book.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, starring Sean Connery even, which is crazy.
Oh, I actually did not see
No one
that.
would expect that.
Or, yeah.
The tagline was, "Who in the name of God is getting away with murder?" Which is great.
Bravo.
Zardos. Hey, Todd.
Yeah.
What's good? What's real good?
I like, because you guys all had these extravagant examples, and mine is very plain, but I'm gonna throw a curveball at you and see how you guys feel about this. I have two examples. The first one, foremost, being Pac-Man.
What?
If you think about Pac-Man, it is a labyrinth.
Yep.
It is you run around in a maze. There are treasures to find, which are the fruits in the center.
Delicious.
And constant danger following you all over, which are the adorable ghosts.
Yes.
And it even has something we haven't really brought up with labyrinth or maze in general. It has secret passages. Where you go from one side of the screen to the other.
Yes.
So I thought that was kind of like I said, it's a very plain. It's not like Pac-Man's on a quest of self-enlightenment. He just wants to eat and not get killed by ghosts. But I thought it was kind of a good curveball example.
Well, actually, if I can elaborate on it, because that was my biggest example too, was Pac-Man, because I think it again turns the idea of a maze on its head, and it kind of goes with what Moonjump was saying in that a maze is just a labyrinth without immediate danger. I'd argue that well, number one, it's obviously a labyrinth, but it's I guess what we would call a perfect information labyrinth, in that you're not really playing as Pac-Man, you're kind of God in a way, because you can see the entire maze. So the danger is not in the maze or a dead end. The danger is it's a maze where you know the way out. You know everything that's in the maze. You have this perfect information, but the danger is in trying to avoid the other dangers within the labyrinth itself. So again, that's kind of an example that I think all my examples were kind of about turning the maze on its head, which I think Pac-Man does really well because it's an outside the box maze because we can't usually have that perspective of God or that omniscient perspective. Which was
the other
cool.
example I had is actually very similar to Pac-Man in that aspect was board game Clue, which is very similar, where it's navigating from room to room, trying to gather all the information, and again the introduction of secret passages that go from one room to another, and just trying to outsmart everyone else who's in there as well. So
in a sense, yeah.
It's like a multiple person maze, if you will.
An elimination maze, I suppose.
Yeah. So
well, the one thing I'm not sure if you guys knew this. Did you know they discussed it? It's not one thing that actually really made it over to America really well. Is that the ghosts in Pac-Man actually had personalities?
Yep.
And that they actually followed a very specific set of motion commands.
Yep. Blue and pink will try and block you off at the ends. Red will just go right for you, and Clyde or Sue or however it is for the orange one is just dumb. So it'll just veer left at the last second, pretty much. So if the orange one is chasing you, you might be okay. It's not like I, Pac-Man shark anyone at game bars. Hi, Pete. Sorry. No, Pac-Man and Clue is interesting too. I wasn't really thinking about secret passages for the segment too, which is kind of a big part of these mazes and labyrinths too, because I was thinking more about it for people who get trapped in them rather than the architects or the dwellers within, I suppose, which is an interesting take on it.
Yeah, well, the secret passages are interesting because like you said, a labyrinth is all about being trapped. If you figure out a secret passage, then you've gained knowledge and you're on your way to a successful endeavor. So I thought it was at least a good mention to bring up secret passages.
I agree. I think, did we hit everyone? I hope I'm not skipping anybody. I think it's everyone.
We didn't hit me, but mine were the cube and Pac-Man. So we basically hit well.
I had a bunch, but some of them aren't good. I have to talk about Hellraiser. I'm sorry, I watched all 9 movies. I have to talk about it. It's the second movie, Hellraiser Labyrinth. Labyrinth is technically a deity, but it's also a labyrinth. It's hell for the Cenobites, but it's also their heaven. The Cenobites are a weird topic, and I'll have to talk about it sometime later, but it's pretty much, you know what? No, I won't get into it. When you're sucked into the demon cube from the Hellraiser movies, the place where all the Cenobites dwell is technically called Labyrinth. It's their hell. It's their other space, and in it is your personal hell / idea of heaven, I guess. It's whatever your big sin was, that's what you're pretty much stuck in. So that's sort of a mental labyrinth and also a physical labyrinth manifesting at the exact same time. I'll say this, Labyrinth was, if you're very interested in Hellraiser and the Cenobites, like I somehow ended up being, then it's an interesting expansion on that particular world. The other one that I did was called Grave Encounters. And if you're a horror fan and you've heard of this movie, then you know what I'm talking about. But, hey, sweetie, has that movie been out for more than 2 years, Grave Encounters?
I have no idea.
I'm going to say that it has been, because I think I remember seeing it 2006, 2008.
2011.
Oh, I just made it. Okay, cool. I'll just give the basic plot synopsis. It's a ghost hunting crew, pretty much, like for a live TV show. They go into an abandoned hospital because that's always a good idea to film some strange goings on there. And after a certain marker, they realize that things aren't exactly changing. Like rooms that they thought they've been in before are at the ends of hallways where they haven't been. Things start to change around a little bit. They've been trapped. The sun never comes up. So it turns from just like a tee-hee-hee, weird things are happening, another, found footage movie, to this is a complete and total, pardon my French, mind fuck for what's happening to us. It becomes a sentient maze, more or less, and they're trapped in there. And it shows like the host of the show going crazier and crazier, kind of like me at the beginning of this podcast, but I seem to be coming down, so that's good. But no, if you're into a good horror movie, I won't spoil the ending of that, but check it out, Grave Encounters. So after, yes,
I think. Oh, I'm sorry. The only thing dumber than breaking into a psychiatric hospital is apparently there's a sequel, and a group of fans try to break into the same psychiatric hospital to see whether it actually happened or not.
I watched that one.
Well, none of them.
That's even more found footagey than the first one, and it breaks the fourth wall, and it goes into like it's been about 2 years. It's been a little less than 2 years for that one, so I won't spoil it. But you know what?
In the halls.
Just watch the first one and see if somebody one. No, my son, my beautiful son. So Chris, who does it badly or makes it redundant? Wait, no. Okay, yes, go.
See,
No, stop.
In terms of
okay,
this,
go.
He wasn't saying go. He was just talking about the band OK Go. Jesus, Chris! My God!
Yeah, they have that
I
song
guess
with
you can talk about how
treadmills,
treadmills.
Treadmills are like a maze. You can't get out of them. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You know what? That's the name of the episode.
Treadmills are like a maze.
Treadmills. You can't get out of them.
In terms of who actually did it poorly, I couldn't actually really think of much in terms of examples of who's done it really poorly, except for, the one example I run into is a lot of old video games, especially when you get into like the isometric views and things, where I remember kind of having a sense of wonder as a kid playing Ultima, where Ultima always had sections where you'd go through a cave or you'd go through like an enemy castle or something like that, and it would shift from your generic top-down world view and things like that to the basically first-person view for what you could do for NES graphics. And all of a sudden it was, hey, you should probably have brought paper for this video game because you need to take notes. And it's one of those. It's kind of it's a very old trope of older video games, because modern video games don't really do that anymore. You've got mini maps and things like that now. But part of the entertainment in those was the being able to kind of explore that and map it out yourself. But I'm trying to remember. There was one game for the Super NES where it was one of the first that did randomized dungeons and still had you go through mazes with pitfalls and like level drops and stuff like that. So it was entirely possible that you could be stuck in an infinite loop depending on how unlucky you were. Yeah. So, it's one of those... Generally speaking, in terms of the genre itself, I couldn't think of anything right off the top of my head that utilizes a labyrinth poorly. It's just... Usually it winds up being when you realize there is no escape from it or anything else, it feels very cheap as an experience. Like, basically anything you run into where a labyrinth doesn't give you the payoff of actually being able to succeed.
Sort of like in a certain Legend of Zelda games where you can incorrectly use keys and not be able to finish a dungeon.
Exactly.
That happened in Oracle of Ages, and I know that there's a more famous one. Was it Link to the Past, I believe? I'm not...
I don't think it was Link to the Past.
Was it... There... Well...
No, it was actually... If I remember, I think it was actually in Ocarina of Time.
Really? That you could just use the keys out of order? That was the Water Temple, wasn't it? Yep.
Yeah.
So in those two games, you can... And funny thing, in Oracle of Time, it was also the Water Temple, where you were.
It's the water temple.
Yeah, it's always the water temple where you can use the keys out of order and you will be unable to finish the game. So yeah, I know that's an example of doing it poorly. And I didn't even have that written down. So, jeez. I'll go Saker next.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess I hosted it, so sure.
I guess just to contrast Mr. Moonjump's is that I actually dislike mazes that are the opposite of that. I dislike magic mazes in any game, like Lost Woods in Zelda, or like what's in Super Mario RPG, because I feel like there's something about those mazes that just feels I don't know. I like having a maze where you can map it all out in front of you, and if you're smart and if you're clever, you have it all down pat. And I don't like a maze where you have to, talk to a villager, and he tells you up, down, left, right, and then you go up, down, left, right. Because there's not a whole lot of skill in that. It's just arbitrary, and it feels cheap. And it's like, oh, I went in this dungeon too early and didn't talk to this random NPC. I guess I can't do it.
And I'll totally agree with you on, like, even in the most recent A Link Between Worlds, where you wind up getting up to the Lost Woods.
Oh, I hated that part.
And if you try to go in it ahead of time, you get in and then you just disappear. Like,
what?
like you go in and all of a sudden you're just back out on the outside.
Yeah, you're in the beginning
again.
Oh,
sorry. And it's like, yeah, there is no good reason why I shouldn't be able to explore in my exploration game.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And that was the only part of that game I did not like.
And that's
that puzzle, like the picking the ghost was kind of broken.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a big difference from early Zelda games too, where exploration was king, and even if you couldn't beat a dungeon, you could still go into a dungeon. This was on Ego Raptor's latest sequelitis video, but like the sense of exploration and that sort of wonder has kind of gone downhill a little bit because there's a certain sequence you have to do things and certain people you have to talk to before X can get done. So
Link Between Worlds was pretty good that way. You can kind of go wherever, whenever. They kind of revisit it.
They're meant to be together.
Yeah. Yeah, a great deal of the game actually winds up being very open, except for pretty much that one part. I mean, a lot of the other things you go, I
think there was only one place where you needed like a certain item to really accomplish it, and it was that sand wand. But other than that, like, you can kind of go wherever, whenever.
Yeah.
They're meant to be together. I have to get it in. I don't know why. Doesn't even matter how hard I try. Keep that in mind. God, where's the end of this maze? I'm going so nuts. Hannah, please bring us back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Thank you. Poorly. Done badly.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah.
Rare.
I get it.
Well done. Rare.
Oh.
It was such a forceful bell ring.
Get it?
You got it. I just think it's poor when there's no point. That's really just what gets me. It's just literally just
deadly
a maze. It kills time.
Deadly maze.
Like,
deadly maze.
There's no point to it. You don't get anything from it. It's just like, man, I sure got lost.
The only maze that has a point is a pyramid, I think. Thank you. Thank you.
I got it. I just didn't want to encourage it.
Okay. It's the worst when you make it and there's just silence afterwards.
I would have appreciated it if you saw the face I made after. It was just scrunched into anger. Scrounged.
I was torn between making that joke and telling you we're on what bumps you out.
Which is a joke in itself. Okay. I think the only other one that I had was Labyrinth Zone from the original Sonic the Hedgehog. Not necessarily for any other reason that it was hard and I could never get past it. And there you go. That was about it, because I figured we'd cover just about everything else. With that,
I have a different one to cover. I get the go, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
right.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you wanted to just touch on Linked Between Worlds. Or...
No. The one I have as an example is in contrast to Saker and Chris.
Okay.
The maze you don't know how to do. because there's no sense to it. And like Friday the 13th for the NES, up is right, left is right. And, like, you kind of have to like constantly do trial and error to figure out how to do it.
Okay.
So like it's just nonsensical and not a maze, but it's a maze because the mechanics are broken and make it a maze.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean that's the good old NES tradition of, you know, Castlevania. You have to duck at this thing
Yeah.
and use an item, and yeah,
It's-
I mean, yeah, I see that could apply to mazes, but it applies to a hell of a lot of NES shit.
It's really all encompassing.
Yeah.
But that like just with those two bringing up the two counterpoints, I really just wanted to wedge that one right in the middle of how the hell do I do this maze?
Man, this maze is really hard, and man, this maze is really easy.
Is this a maze?
Is this
I don't know.
really a maze? Is that what we're going through right now? I'm not even sure. Okay, but all right, we've gone through a pretty decent amount, and our next section is what do we think could improve the trope in general, or is there something that you would like to see more of? Good examples that you think you go on. Todd, have you gone first yet? I don't think you have.
No, but I don't have a really good example for this one.
Oh, okay.
I don't have labyrinths are not my strong point apparently.
Well,
but,
for most people, they usually aren't.
Yeah, well,
Unless you're a
there's
Minotaur.
like I don't have a good sense of direction, so when
that wasn't
No.
fun.
that's just
Actually.
fact. So this whole episode, I've been kind of going in circles, or I guess squares leading to other squares, whatever the hell
Yeah.
a labyrinth is.
Doesn't flow quite as
Yeah.
well.
That's your angle.
Oh.
But like I like I was gonna say straightforward labyrinths, but that wouldn't be a labyrinth at all. It'd be more of a hallway.
Corridors.
But I like the ideas of labyrinths. Like you said, when they're done well and not like Anna said, where they're just like time killers.
Yeah.
I go, oh, yes, you're right in my throne room, but now you're in a maze.
Your character
This'll-
now has amnesia. Get out.
I'll see you in 3 episodes. But yeah, just kind of that. I don't really have a much for what I'd like to see. I think labyrinths are pretty. I mean,
Straightforward.
yeah, exactly. Straightforward.
Fair enough.
I was just gonna go play Pac-Man.
Just gonna walk over here and ask Chris
Walk away.
Moonjump.
Well, the one thing I think if you really wanted to kind of work with an original story on it is originally labyrinths in a lot of your ancient cultures were actually originally meant to keep out dead or the evil spirits, is that they were supposed to get lost in the maze, but the living would be able to navigate them. So I think
how ironic on a Pac-Man level.
Well, and that's the thing, is we commonly think of it as something that people are trapped in. But what if it's the other way around? You know, what if the people that you're shadowing are actually not the good ones? You know, because it would be very easy to kind of be able to strip motive in a labyrinth. I mean, you can play it from that angle. The other thing is labyrinths are always a great place to be able to kind of test either like the cleverness of your villains or the cleverness of your heroes. It gives you kind of a cheap way to throw in a bunch of things that show their competencies. So, I mean, it can be used in different ways, but like I said, I think the one thing that really doesn't get used often is kind of the original purpose of them, which is they're supposed to be places that people can navigate fine, but the evil spirits or evil people even would not be able to.
that kind of puts me in the mind of have you ever heard of the Winchester Mystery House in
I
California?
have.
Yes.
Yes.
That was actually made by the daughter of
The Winchester,
Yeah.
the heir to the Winchester gun fortune.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and if you don't know what that is, it's for listeners or for other people. It's basically she was haunted by the fact that she had all this money, and so many people had been killed with her brand of guns, and she went to a psychic, and the psychic said, yes, you're being haunted, and you have to appease these ghosts by building a giant house. So it's this 7-story mansion with like doors that lead to brick walls and stairs that go nowhere, and like it's a maze basically, but it keeps out the dead. So it's kind of a modern idea of exactly what you were saying.
Was that psychic's husband a house builder?
No, the funny thing with her house is she actually built it herself, and most of it is massively structurally unsound. So it's a labyrinth. Because you'll die in it.
Wow.
There's a Minotaur at the end, too.
But he's in the gift shop.
I've heard that. That may not be real.
Gift shop.
Yeah, that's what's at the end of any good labyrinth. On the way out, at least.
Giant bull man.
Selling astronaut ice cream to anyone on their way
It's
out.
like the best labyrinth ever.
Okay, can we have astronaut ice cream Minotaur as part of the Utropeia?
Yeah, why not?
I can
I'll
accept
allow
him as
that.
a moon resident if
You know what? Canon. Good job. Canon on you. Anna, is there anything that you'd like to see more of, or anything that you think could
I was
improve?
just laughing directly.
Well, would you like to see more Minotaurs, more astronaut ice cream? I mean, like,
The answer
just literally
is both.
constructed with astronaut ice cream.
You know what? I would play that. I would play that game.
I feel like we covered a lot of it. I mean, I guess I would say a lot of mazes and labyrinths now are being used as like a device for fear.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's, tricks, traps, unknowns.
Yeah, the basis of it, keeping something in,
Yeah.
keeping people out.
Which I feel like is pretty easy to do. I mean, even like the really, really old DOS games would do that. And it actually was terrifying because the graphics were so poor, it would just be jump scares all the time.
Yep.
But,
Night Trap?
Night Trap. Oh god, Fahrenheit. It was so bad. Couldn't tell what was happening. Couldn't save the cat. Todd, what was the sound that the fireman makes
And I don't
in
remember.
Fahrenheit? It's just like
Swah, 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 swah.
but like a lot of horror games play off that, and I think I like it more as an adventure rather than just being scary.
Yeah. You'd like more of a less horror genre, more action adventure.
Yeah.
Okay. It's good.
Well, that's just me personally, though. I mean,
That's what the section is. So good
mazes
job.
have been used
Let's,
forever, and they are going to continue to be used because everyone understands the concept.
Less Shining, more Goonies.
I love
Less Minotaur, more ice cream.
it. God, I didn't even think about The Shining. It's a
Yeah.
good one.
That's only in the movie.
The movie.
Yeah,
Yep, it's not in the book.
it's in the miniseries too, which was based more off of the book. But it's only in the movie. In
He's the Minotaur.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. Jack Nicholson is a Minotaur.
You know what? No, that's
Is it
that's the
Minotaur
title
or
of this
Minotaur?
episode.
Jack Nicholson.
We've got like 15
The title of this
titles.
episode is Jack Nicholson on a
Jack
treadmill.
Nicholson
Jack
on
Nicholson is accidentally a Hitler robot.
a treadmill.
Okay, go.
Just keep writing A over and over again. A. It's the A robot.
Zicker, what would you like to see more of?
I would like to see more. I feel like a lot of times mazes are kind of taking after the paper and pen mazes that we kind of do, where it's just, you have to find the right way out. But I really, really like the sort of David Bowie labyrinthy style mazes, where there's some element of, or the one that Todd was talking about. I haven't seen that episode of Batman, but where there's some logic puzzle or sphinxy riddle or challenge involved. So it's part maze, part gauntlet of skill. I like to see that diversity rather than just simply, walk, oh, this corner's a dead end, walk back, do it again until you find the way out.
That'd be a sad movie.
Well,
just hug on the right wall.
No, that's not the right one.
Yeah.
That's how you solve them.
Also, is it true that if you just hold your hand against the left side of a maze, you will eventually
for
finish
the,
it?
like traditional pen and paper mazes, like for that particular kind, then yeah.
But you can't do that in
No.
real life.
We didn't mention mirror
you
mazes.
can still, you can still do it.
Well, I want to see like a really boring maze scene in a movie then, where somebody's just like, I don't know, this could take hours, but I'm just going to hold my hand here.
It's in the first Children of
There's-
the Corn.
Played it.
David Bowie's
Yeah.
like, no, they figured it out.
David, no.
Wait, did you say it's? Did you say it's in the first
Yeah.
Children of the Corn?
in the first Children of the
okay.
Corn maze?
Well, I guess I have to see Children of the Corn then.
No, you don't.
Oh, Children of the Corn maze.
We're back to the maze.
Gosh, we've been
Well,
here for so
and-
long.
Well, and that becomes, just as a real quick aside, do you guys actually know how to answer the riddle of the man of the guard who always lies versus the guard who always tells the
If
truth?
you were your brother, which one of you would get me ice cream?
Yes.
Dang, Ken said it before I could. I was totally going to say
The
something
trick
about
is the
astronaut
entire
ice
maze
cream.
is made of astronaut ice cream.
You could eat your way through it.
And I will.
It's delicious. And so
It tastes like
space-aged.
chalk.
Necco
Chris-
wafer maze.
Nickel wafer maze.
Chris, do you ask the door which should I go through the other one? Is that it? I can't remember.
You ask them if you were your counterpart, what
would you say?
what would your counterpart pick? And then you
Right.
always pick the opposite. Because the one who tells the truth will tell you what the one who is lying would pick. And it's the opposite of the one that you want. And the one who would pick the liar would realize that the truth telling one would tell you the truth, and so he lies
Yep.
about it. So they both pick the same one.
It was in an episode of Samurai Jack with a magic worm.
Mm-hmm.
So what I like, I like labyrinths that kind of move as you traverse them, almost the sentient sort of mazes. So the Cube series, and I guess kind of Hellraiser Labyrinth, but not really. Maybe more Grave Encounters-y, I guess. I actually like the horror trope a lot. I think it would be cool to have a game. I know that they did this from one of the Silent Hill games, but it's a maze, and I think it would be more interesting that you were trapped in the middle, and as you're you're trying to go into the maze to get something you want, but you have to encounter like your fears as you go through it. So it would psychologically profile you as you go through. And I know with the Silent Hill game for the Wii, that they kind of do profile you for what would scare you the most or what would be more difficult for you to go through. And I think having a labyrinth where it's like, if you're deathly afraid of spiders, the further you go in, there's more and more spiders.
Welcome to Spider Maze.
Welcome to the spider maze. Oh, there's so much chocolate milk.
It's a pretty obscure maze. You probably wouldn't have heard of it.
Something like that. Or for the inverse, which I really like because it kind of follows almost a fae sort of fairy Celtic mythology sort of way about a labyrinth that you're trying to escape that gives you more and more of what you'd want. I actually think that'd be more of an interesting story because you're trying to
pulling you back in.
Yeah, so it's pulling you back in. So it's like, why would you want to leave? You've got all this cool stuff here. What's really holding you back? But I guess, if it's all an illusion, then what subjectively is actual reality.
It's just the magical fae table filled with astronaut ice cream.
Pretty much.
Damn you, Minotaur.
I've got rum raisin.
Neapolitan.
It's all Neapolitan.
And that was one of the things I actually agree. Yeah, seeing something in the mazes as a trial of your character, rather than because we talked about physical skill and things like that. But like, I think that was one of the things that was great with Pan's Labyrinth, is even though it's kind of horrifically depressing, I mean, the trials of that girl show her to have the ability to do what she needs to, you know? And I kind of like it as both it can be a growth experience.
More of a kind of the mental labyrinth mimics the physical labyrinth at the same time, I guess.
Yeah. It's almost a labyrinth as a beneficial construct
rather than a physical one that you're just kind of going through at the same time.
Yeah, well, rather than trying to get out of it, you're trying to get through it. Yeah.
And I would dig that, seeing more of that, I think, being used in sort of a maze setting at the same time, rather than it just being the physical, to kind of have it mirror itself. I think we've covered the gambit for Labyrinths this week. Thank you all for listening. I believe next week...
Guys.
Yes.
I made it to the end. I found a secret passage.
Hey!
Nice.
Oh, good.
There's so much astronaut ice cream here.
Oh, they've got rum raisin. This is awesome.
Why is it rum raisins?
Because that's the worst flavor of
There's no
astronaut ice cream. And on the box is a sun holding a beautiful, beautiful sun.
No, my beautiful son.
Beautiful sun.
Okay, I left Trail of Fruit Loops.
And he's-
You can get out. Follow your nose.
Everyone knows. I think next week is it gosh, I'm forgetting my own show structure. It's supposed to be plot devices, thank you. So plot armor is going to be next week's topic. Yeah, pretty much. So, something that pretty much prevents a character from, in my case, getting harmed, but I guess, having any outside factors hinder them. So, when it's used, when it's not used, stuff like that.
Get your ammo ready.
Yeah.
'Cause no matter how many times you shoot, you're not going to hit them.
Nope. Ain't never gonna get it.
You're saying that if they shoot you down, you won't fall? Because you're titanium?
Well, I do get knocked down, but I get up again.
Just imagine my head falling down very slowly, like for 45
Hitting
minutes.
the bell.
Just
The bell rings.
slowly coming down. No, thank you all for listening to the Utropeia podcast. It's been a good time. I'm gonna start from the Moonjump up.
Well, thanks for listening, everyone, to our, maze of answers.
Thanks, everybody. It's been a wonderful night. We will see you next week.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. They've got rum raisin.
Maybe not.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We appreciate it.
Seiko Bueno.
Zager, you're up.
Me? Hold on, Maze in Manhattan. Is that a joke?
It's close
Maze in-
enough.
I'm gonna give it to you.
Oh, hey,
Yes.
actually, wait. Is the podcast over?
Okay.
No, hold on. I have one more thing I remembered I wanted to talk about. No, we're done. We're done.
No, what are you bummed about?
No, it was, I wanted to talk about Pac-Manhattan. I thought about it during Todd's section and forgot to say it. Todd, have you ever heard of Pac-Manhattan?
I've heard the name. I've never played it.
Oh my god. So what it is there are they put tags. People dress up as Pac-Man and three ghosts,
yeah.
and then it takes place in Manhattan because they have square
Oh,
like
was
grid of
there?
streets.
I didn't know it was like a real thing. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, and then you can track where your person is on a computer, and you give them instructions through walkie-talkie, like, oh, you have to go down second, and the ghosts are trying to so bringing the maze
is
into real
awesome.
life is a really cool idea. Anyway, Maze in Manhattan. That's my non-joke. Goodbye, everybody. Good night. I really ruined this podcast. Okay. Go look up Pac-Manhattan. I'm done.
This is Ken, aka Pumpkin. I trope you found what you're looking for. Until we talk about Pac-Man next week. Goodbye.
Bye.